Alright, I'm going to record this so I don't make it in the final cut, but here is the Gaihblean book. This occurred when I was young. I saw it with my very own eyes, the howling of the gruesome-looking giants as they were torching everything in sight. Numerous people were injured or killed, and those who barely survived begged for mercy and ran for their lives. However, there is no one foolish enough to challenge a freakishly powerful monster. A long time has passed since then. I wonder if people still remember that giant monster today. Do they still remember the name Glas? Gaihblean? Even after reaching adulthood, I couldn't escape from the fear of this monster that had been tormenting me ever since that fateful day. That's totally supposed to be fateful, not faithful. I came to the grips that only after a long time has passed. I decided that I must prevent the monster like that from ever coming to Earth again, and destroying everything we worked for. Since then, I began traveling all across the world to discover the identity of Glas. I went and spoke to people who claimed to have seen Glas up close, read through ancient writings, and even sought the wisdom of the Druids. After more than a decade, I finally was writing down the fruits of my research in this book. I hope that through this book we will once again remember the giant that set the human world on fire and brought upon chaos and destruction, so that it will never happen again. Also, I hope that people will pay close attention to the signs and will predict the giant's arrival. What is Glas? The first mention of Glas in ancient writings came after the Mag-Turid Wars. During the war between the Partholons and the Fomers held Sen-Mag Plains, This is the story that revealed that several giants, some larger than a house, appeared and proceeded to destroy and burn everything in sight. The sounds of a lot of Glas Gaihbleans. Through the sacrifice of tens of thousands of men, they were able to defeat some of them. With the toxin in the darkness that spewed out of them as they were defeated, turned Segmang into an uninhabitable place. That is, what is more, is the place where Glas Gaihblean fell. There's that picture again. Hundreds of Fomers appeared and wiped out all the battle-weary remaining Partholons. This is another famous story about Cian, who involved around Glas Gaihblean. Cian was the father of the King of Light, Setios. It was said that he went to go see Glas Gaihblean. He was unable to receive his son Setios. Wait a second. This is another famous story about Cian. Cian was the father of the King of Light. Okay. Sorry, I got it mixed up. From that meeting, this Gaihblean was given to a craftsman named Gaihblean. From the former king Balor to burn and destroy the human world. However, because Gaihblean was not a summoner, he eventually lost Glas Gaihblean. Perhaps these were the other records of Glas Gaihblean. It was not officially confirmed, but there are records that Glas Gaihblean have been spotted during the Mag-Turid Wars, and even in the story of the three missing warriors, Glas Gaihblean is mentioned there as well. However, these stories have no way of being confirmed, and has been excluded in this book, The Life of Glas Gaihblean. Generally, Glas Gaihblean is a creature shrouded in mystery. It is known to eat gold, and one has to wonder how much gold is required for it to manage its enormous size. There is also differing opinions on the descriptions regarding Glas Gaihblean's ability to reason and think. However, none of the testimonies seem credible due to the fact that all of the accounts are quite old. There have been rare discoveries of large, dense bones that seem to be from another world. Scholars presume that it belongs to Glas Gaihblean. Strangely, these bones have been scattered all throughout Iran, discovered piece by piece. Therefore, trying to piece together their lifespan is extremely difficult. It is not even known how to distinguish the gender of Glas Gaihblean. However, there is no such evidence that Glas Gaihbleans reproduce, which can only mean one thing. They are summoned to this world through a powerful magic. In order to liberate ourselves from the disaster that can be created by Glas Gaihblean, we have to be fully aware that Glas Gaihblean is summoned in the first place. Summon method, forming the skeleton frame. According to the ancient records I looked up, summoning Glas Gaihblean requires several procedures. The most important step, that seems to be common in all the records, is forming the skeletal frame. In order to summon Glas Gaihblean, it is said that one needs to collect all the bones of the ancient giant after it has deceased. If even one of the bones is missing, the summon doesn't work. In the case where the bones are missing, it is said they can be created artificially using metals. Using artificial bones, Glas Gaihblean's skeletal frame can be formed. However, Not just any mental will do this trick. This is because the summoned Glas Gaihblean's weight is powerful and cannot be withstood by ordinary mental. There is only one type of mental that can endure the powerful yet swift moves of the Glas Gaihblean. Adamantium, the strongest metal known in Iran. Adamantium is a dark blue-colored metal and is extremely durable. It is so very rare and so such that there is probably not enough in all of Iran to make a whole skeleton frame of one Glas Gaihblean. Some method using the magic sample. Because of its rarity and durability, adamantium is highly desired metal. What its true worth is the fact that it nullifies all magic. In other words, swords made from adamantium can break any magical defense, as well as shields made from adamantium can block any magical attack. That sounds really useful. Even when adamantium is used partially, mixed with other regular steel, these effects are still shown. However, this attribute of adamantium actually serves as an obstacle when summoning Glas Gaihblean. Because adamantium nullifies magic, the magic to summon Glas Gaihblean doesn't work as well. In order to overcome this, a sample that contains the knowledge of ancient magic is needed. Once you put the sample on the skeleton frame made of adamantium, the ancient magic power seeps into the bones. Amazingly, the adamantium's natural attribute disappears and works as part of the summoning process. This is shown in what kind of creature Glas Gaihblean is. The sample's exact formula is unknown, but considering the fact that summoning Glas Gaihblean can mean the destruction of the entire world, it's probably better that it is unknown. Completing the summon. Once the sample is rubbed into the metal skeleton frame and summon magic used, the power and limbs from the other world begin growing in the skeleton frame and forms the body. During this entire process, a steady, secure supply of mana is required, and this is too difficult for a regular wizard. If the mana supply is successfully supplied, Glas Gaihblean slowly grows and forms as it begins listening to the summoner. Once the summon is finished, the used up mana is blackened and dissolves back into the environment as it darkens the sky. Once the summon is complete, Glas Gaihblean needs a significant amount of food, which is gold. If it does not eat, it will become more furious and go wild, eventually dissolving back into bones. According to theory, this is why the monsters always carry around gold. Therefore, if there's an increase in monster spotted carrying gold, it could be said that it's preparing to summon Glas Gaihblean. Split summon. Glas Gaihblean is a creature with enormous strength and magic power. However, imagine this. What would happen if a summoned Glas doesn't listen to the summoner and begins acting on its own will in violation, fighting against the summoner? This implies that a powerful summoned being's will can conflict with the summoner and become uncontrollable. So when dealing with a powerful summoned being, such as Glas Gaihblean, how the summoner will control it becomes an interesting question. One of the solutions to this problem is using a summon method that excludes the summoned being's will. When this happens, even the smallest of instincts of the summoned being is determined by the summoner. Therefore, the summoner can completely control the summoned being. The method, of course, requires a high level of magic skill, but anyone who is fairly familiar with summoning can do it with some preparation and caution. Added soul phenomena. One interesting thing happens during this type of summon. The summoned being's will has been separated from the being, appears to form a spirit, which is known as the added soul. One interesting thing happens during this type of summon. The summoned being's will that has been separated from the being appears to form a spirit, which is known as the added soul. The separated will has nowhere to go, and either attaches onto or nearby a creature or becomes its own entity. Sometimes it becomes an unidentifiable creature like a wisp. It can even become a bird or a four-legged creature. That there have also been reports that they have taken the form of a human. The added soul is a completely different exterior from the summoned being and shows no reaction toward the summoned being. However, subconsciously it roams around near the summoned being to become unified with the being as they are drawn to one another. Sometimes this can cause a side effect to your summon and cause an entirely different outcome than what you had intended. Therefore, using this method of limiting the summoned being's will, you will need to watch out for this. The added soul phenomenon can only occur between the relationship of this kind and body in one entity, but it can happen between two different entities in a very intimate relationship, such as husband and wife, friends, and couples, and some scholars use the phenomenon to explain the soul stream. With that, I have explained that I know about Glas Gaihblean. Please remember that this is the book, so that tragedy of the past will never occur again. I now entrust the future of Iran to you.